before the 2.2 million followers, before the brand deals, the viral reels, and the comment sections full of fire emojis, before any of it, there was a girl from Atlanta, Georgia named Mia Anderson. And chances are you have no idea what her life looked like before she became Coco Bunnie. That is the thing about social media success. It arrives fully formed. You discover someone and they already look like a finished product, the confidence, the aesthetic, the loyal audience. You do not see the years that came before. You do not see what it cost to build that. You do not see the quiet decisions, the consistency, and the absolute refusal to quit that made the whole thing possible. Today, we are going back to the beginning. We are looking at the full story of Mia Anderson, where she came from, how she built something real out of nothing, what it meant to put a body like hers in front of a world that had very specific ideas about which bodies deserve visibility, and where she stands now. This is what really happened to Coco Bunnie. If you are watching this for the first time, hit subscribe before we go any further. We tell these stories every week, and every single one of them is worth your time. Atlanta, Georgia. A city with a particular energy. Over the last 30 years, it has produced some of the most culturally and financially influential figures in music, film, fashion, and business. There is something in Atlanta about ambition, about claiming space, about understanding that no one is coming to hand you anything, that everything you build yourself. Mia Anderson was born there on June 9, 1992. She grew up in Atlanta, raised in the American South, and she carried something out of that city with her, a groundedness, a boldness, a refusal to shrink even in spaces that expected her to. That is not a small thing, because the spaces she would eventually step into, the modeling world, the influencer economy, the content creation industry, had very clear and very narrow ideas about who belonged there. And Mia did not fit those ideas. She chose to step into those spaces anyway. Publicly, she has kept her family background private. She does not talk about her parents in any detail, and she does not document her childhood for content. That restraint is deliberate. She has built a public persona that is fully realized and deeply confident, but she has always kept a clear boundary between what she shares and what she keeps for herself. In an era where oversharing is often mistaken for authenticity, that discipline is actually a mark of self-awareness. She knows exactly what she is offering and exactly what she is not. What we do know is that before social media, before any of this, there was just Mia, a young woman from Atlanta, with a body the world had not quite figured out how to talk about fairly, and a perspective that would eventually become the foundation of a multi-platform brand worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. To understand what Coco Bunnie built, you have to understand the world she stepped into when she decided to go public. Because the modeling and beauty content industry in 2015, when she first started posting, was still operating under a standard that had been in place for decades. Thin, specifically thin, the kind of body that required either genetic luck, extreme discipline, or both. And that standard was not presented as a preference. It was presented as a fact, as though there were a biologically correct body type for beauty, and anything else was simply a deviation from the norm. Body positivity movement had been gaining serious cultural momentum since around 2012, when the phrase began circulating as a hashtag and community rallying point online. In 2013, model Tess Holliday launched her hashtag campaign calling on women of all sizes to love their bodies without condition. In 2015, she became the first curvy woman to sign a major fashion industry modeling contract, a milestone that signaled something was changing, but changing slowly. The runway was still overwhelmingly narrow. The magazine covers were still overwhelmingly narrow. And social media, which was supposed to democratize everything, was still reflecting the same hierarchies it claimed to be dismantling. Curvy women existed online. They had always existed. But there is a critical difference between existing and thriving, between being tolerated and being celebrated, between being allowed into a room and actually being seen. That distinction between mere visibility and genuine power will become the central tension of everything Mia Anderson built over the next decade. In March 2015, Mia Anderson began posting content on Twitter, the platform now known as X, and most people assume Instagram was where Coco Bunnie started. It was not. Twitter came first, and that matters. Twitter's community, particularly its Black community, had built something genuinely powerful by 2015. Counterculture to the narrow beauty standards dominating mainstream media, a space where a woman with curves was not an anomaly to be explained or justified, but someone to be followed, appreciated, and amplified. It was one of the few online spaces where the body positivity conversation was not theoretical. It was lived daily by real women with real audiences who had built real influence without the permission of any traditional media gatekeeper. Mia understood that space intuitively. She moved within it naturally. She was not performing something foreign to her. She was simply showing up as herself, a young woman from Atlanta who was comfortable in her own skin, had a distinct personal aesthetic, and was not asking anyone's permission to take up space. That ease is not something you can manufacture. Audiences feel the difference between someone who is genuinely at home in front of a camera and someone who is performing confidence they do not actually have. And Mia was the real thing. The audience found her gradually, the way real audiences always do. A few followers becoming a few hundred becoming a few thousand. Word spreading the way it does when someone is genuinely compelling, not because they went viral once, but because people kept coming back. By the time she had built a meaningful presence on Twitter, eventually growing to well over 500,000 followers on that platform alone. She had proven something critically important. There was a real, sustainable appetite for what she was offering, not just from women who shared her body type, from anyone who was tired of seeing the same narrow version of beauty reflected at them constantly. That proof, that real audience built on that first platform, would matter enormously when she made her next move. If you are finding value in this story, now is a great time to like this video. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who would appreciate it. We will keep going. In February 2020, Mia Anderson launched her Instagram presence under the handle @Coco Bunnie Official, and the world she stepped into was a different one than she had navigated on Twitter. Instagram by 2020 was the dominant platform for visual content creators and influencer marketing. Brands were spending billions of dollars in the influencer economy. The platform had in theory made enormous strides toward inclusivity, but algorithms are not neutral. They reflect the values of the systems that design them. And Instagram's documented history with content featuring larger bodies, particularly the bodies of Black women, was complicated. There were sustained, well-documented patterns of posts being quietly suppressed, of creators with curvy bodies finding their organic reach throttled without explanation, of the platform applying its content standards inconsistently depending on whose body was in the frame. Creators in this space were not imagining things. The data backed them up. Mia navigated all of it. She brought her community from Twitter with her, the aesthetic she had refined over 5 years of content creation, and a clear understanding of exactly who she was and what she was offering. She also brought something new to Instagram that set her apart immediately: cosplay. That creative dimension gave her range. It showed a playful, inventive side that pure lifestyle and fashion content could not communicate. It demonstrated that she was not a one-dimensional account. She had personality, humor, and genuine creativity layered into everything she put out. And then in 2020, something else happened. The pandemic. The entire world went indoors, onto their phones, and onto social media. For content creators who already had audiences and already had consistent output, that moment was an accelerant. Engagement spiked. Discovery rates climbed. People who had never heard of Coco Bunnie before found her during a period when they had unlimited time to scroll and a genuine hunger for content that felt real and human and warm. The growth that followed was not overnight. Nothing real ever is, but it was consistent and it was earned. Driven by content quality, by authentic engagement with a community she treated with genuine respect, and by the simple fact that she was genuinely interesting to watch. By the time the numbers on her profile reached what you see today, 2.2 million followers, a verified account, a presence that extends across multiple monetized platforms, it represented nearly a decade of work. A decade of showing up, of posting, of engaging, of refusing to disappear even when the platform made things structurally difficult. Let us talk about what the Coco Bunnie brand actually is. Because the numbers are one thing, the architecture behind those numbers is another, and it is the part of this story that most people miss entirely. At its core, the brand is built on 3 things: authenticity, confidence, and a specific, immediately recognizable aesthetic. These are not complicated ingredients, but they are genuinely rare in combination, and they are almost impossible to fake over a sustained period of time. The authenticity is the foundation. Mia Anderson has never performed a version of herself she is not. She has never chased a body type she does not have. She has never manufactured a vulnerability arc for sympathy views, or pretended to be in the middle of a transformation journey she was not actually on. She showed up as herself, a thick, tattooed woman from Atlanta who was genuinely comfortable in her own skin, and she kept showing up that way consistently across multiple platforms across nearly a decade. In the influencer economy, where the performance of authenticity has become its own genre of constructed content, that kind of real consistency is rarer than it sounds. Audiences know. They feel the difference. The confidence is what that authenticity looks like in practice. This is a woman who walks into a Walmart and treats the experience like a runway, who wears fitted, expressive clothing in every context without apology or explanation, who has never once framed her body as a before picture waiting for an after. She did not arrive online in the middle of a journey toward self-acceptance. She arrived already there, and for a significant portion of her audience, women who are still working toward that place for themselves, that is not just appealing. It is genuinely life-changing to witness. It models something they are still building toward. The aesthetic is the third pillar: bold, tattooed, confident, stylish, and completely consistent across years and platforms. When you land on her profile, you understand within seconds what you are getting. There is no confusion about who she is or what she stands for. She has built a visual identity that is immediately recognizable, and that kind of brand clarity is something companies invest hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to manufacture. She built it organically by simply being herself consistently. That combination: authentic foundation, visible confidence, distinct aesthetic, is exactly what high-value brands pay for when they enter the influencer marketing space, and they have paid for it. What Mia Anderson has built is, by any reasonable standard, a serious and diversified business. This is not a hobby. This is not a side project. This is a professionally structured content enterprise with multiple revenue streams, a deliberate platform strategy, and an audience relationship that has demonstrated loyalty over years. She has worked as a brand ambassador in the fashion and beauty space. Fashion Nova Curve, one of the most visible brands targeting curvy women at scale, has been part of her brand partnership ecosystem, a collaboration that speaks directly to her reach and her alignment with brands serving the body-positive consumer market. The influencer marketing industry is now a multi-billion-dollar economy, and brand ambassadors in the fashion and beauty space can command significant proposed fees depending on their engagement rates and audience demographics. She is active on OnlyFans, and it is worth discussing that honestly because the conversation around creators who use that platform tends to collapse into either moral judgment or strategic dismissal, and neither is useful if what you are actually trying to understand is how a creator builds financial independence in the digital economy. OnlyFans is a subscription platform. Creators who use it are building direct-to-audience revenue streams that bypass the advertiser-dependent model that governs most social media content creation. For influencers in particular, whose income on platforms like Instagram is subject to algorithm changes, brand deal fluctuations, content policy shifts. In platform policy reversals, direct subscription income provides a financial stability and a level of independence from platform dynamics that simply does not exist anywhere else in the creator economy. Mia made a deliberate business decision to include it in her revenue structure. That decision reflects the same strategic self-determination and financial intelligence that defines everything else she has built. Her X account, with hundreds of thousands of followers built over more than a decade of consistent posting, serves as another monetized pillar and as a discovery funnel for her other platforms. Her Instagram at 2.2 million followers is the flagship, the primary stage where brands find her, where new audiences discover her, and where the Coco Bunnie persona is most fully expressed. The Beacon's AI link in her bio functions as a centralized hub that routes audiences from any single platform into her full ecosystem, a deliberately constructed monetization funnel that she has maintained consistently. Analyst estimates place her net worth somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million. Given the diversity of her revenue streams and the trajectory of her growth, that figure almost certainly represents a conservative floor rather than a ceiling. There is a conversation that happens around every plus-size or curvy creator, and it tends to be reductive in one of two directions. On one side, there are people who reduce everything to health, a framing that is almost always deployed selectively, almost always aimed at larger bodies and never the thin ones, and almost always functions less as genuine wellness concern and more as social policing dressed in the language of care. On the other side, there is a temptation to automatically frame every curvy creator as a body-positive activist, as though simply existing visibly in a larger body online requires a political framework around it. Mia Anderson exists deliberately outside both of those reductive framings. She is not primarily a body-positive activist. She is a content creator who happens to have a body that the mainstream beauty industry has historically undervalued, and who has never treated that fact as something requiring explanation, apology, or performed celebration. She is simply a woman who exists in her body and chose to put that existence on camera. That normalcy, the refusal to center her size as either a burden or a triumph, is paradoxically more powerful than either of the louder alternatives. Her tattoos are part of this visual story too. The tiger inked on her right thigh, the woman's face on her right shoulder, the work that covers her arms and appears throughout her content. These are not accidental aesthetic choices. They are markers of ownership, of a body she has marked and shaped according to her own vision on her own terms without reference to what anyone else thought it should look like. She stands approximately 5 feet 5 inches tall. She has dark brown hair and brown eyes. She has described her ethnicity as mixed race. She is, as of 2026, 33 years old. None of these individual facts define her, but they combine into a visual presence that is specific, recognizable, and entirely her own, and that is increasingly in the creator economy where the real value lives. We are going to pause here for a second. If this story is hitting differently than you expected, if you came in thinking this was just a profile and you are realizing it is actually a masterclass in how someone builds a brand with nothing but consistency and self-knowledge, share this video. Send it to someone who is building something of their own. They will thank you. And subscribe if you have not yet. We do this every week. Here is what the highlight reel does not show. Because every success story has a version that looks clean and inevitable from the outside and looks completely different from the inside. Building a following as a curvy woman on social media is not simply a matter of posting quality content and watching an audience materialize. It is a process conducted against a structural headwind that has been documented, studied, and repeatedly confirmed. The history of platforms suppressing content featuring larger bodies is real, and it is not ancient history. Instagram, TikTok, and other platforms have faced sustained criticism for the way their content moderation systems, both human and automated, disproportionately flag, restrict, or quietly reduce the organic reach of posts featuring bodies that do not conform to a narrow visual standard. The same pose, the same outfit, the same framing. Meaningfully different algorithmic outcomes depending on whose body is in the frame. For a creator like Mia, whose entire content strategy is built on visual content of herself, this meant doing all the work and not seeing all the results. It meant posting content that was being seen by fewer people than her follower count suggested it should be. It meant watching posts underperform without clear explanation and without recourse. It meant building in an environment that was, in certain measurable ways, structurally opposed to her success. And beyond the algorithmic realities, there is the simpler human reality of being a visible woman on the internet. The comments, the unsolicited opinions about her body, her choices, her worth. The particular cruelty that gets directed at women who take up space online with genuine confidence, a cruelty that intensifies significantly when the woman in question does not fit the prescribed mold and refuses to apologize for it. This is not theoretical. It is the lived experience of virtually every creator in this space, and it is attacks on the mental and emotional energy that could otherwise go entirely into building. Mia stayed. She posted through it. She built through it. She did not shrink, and that sustained commitment, not a single brave moment but 1,000 consistent choices made across nearly a decade, is the part of this story that deserves the most credit and receives the least attention. Let us put the number in real context. 2.2 million Instagram followers places Coco Bunnie in what the influencer marketing industry classifies as macro-influencer territory. That is not celebrity tier, but it is not minor either. It is the kind of reach that major brands in the fashion, beauty, wellness, and lifestyle spaces pay significant money to access. And in those specific categories, body-positive fashion, inclusive beauty, confidence, and wellness content, her audience is not just large, it is highly targeted. She is not reaching a general audience. She is reaching an audience with demonstrated purchase intent in exactly the categories that advertisers in her space value most. The growth trajectory is also notable. She started on Twitter in 2015 with 0. She moved to Instagram in early 2020 with a following she had to transplant from one platform to another. Building from scratch in a new algorithmic environment. And over the 5 years since, she grew that presence to over 2 million followers. That kind of sustained compounding growth, slow at the start, consistent over years, never dependent on a single viral moment, produces something more durable than explosive overnight numbers. The people following Coco Bunnie followed her by choice, over an extended period, because they kept coming back. That kind of loyalty does not evaporate when a trend cycle ends. The platform diversity is also a deliberate and intelligent business choice. An influencer whose entire income and audience lives on one platform is, financially, one algorithm change away from watching their livelihood collapse. Mia has built across Twitter, X, Instagram, and OnlyFans, 3 different platforms, 3 different audience relationships, 3 structurally different revenue streams. That is not accident. That is the architecture of someone who thinks about their income the way an investor thinks about a portfolio. Diversification, risk management, long-term sustainability over short-term optimization. Mia Anderson did not create the body positivity movement. She did not launch it, and she would not claim to have. But she has been part of a generation of creators who over the last decade have fundamentally and durably changed what mainstream beauty content looks like in the digital space. When she started in 2015, the plus-size models getting mainstream attention were still being treated as exceptional, as deliberate marketable exceptions to the norm rather than evidence of a new norm. The conversation around body diversity in fashion was aspirational on the industry side and largely theoretical. The gap between what diversity advocates were calling for and what the actual runways and magazine covers were showing was enormous. Today that gap still exists, and in some corners of the traditional fashion industry it has actually grown in recent years, with runway representation for plus-size models declining from a 2020 peak. But in the digital economy, in the influencer space, something real and lasting has shifted. Women who look like Coco Bunnie are not algorithmic anomalies on Instagram. They are a significant, financially powerful, commercially attractive segment of the creator economy. Brands are building campaigns around them. Agencies are signing them. The conversation has changed. That shift did not happen by itself. It happened through thousands of individual decisions made by individual creators, to post anyway, to be visible anyway, to reject the implicit instruction to wait until you have the socially approved body before putting yourself in front of a camera. Coco Bunnie made that decision. She made it in 2015, and she has kept making it consistently every single time she has posted since. That cumulative weight of presence, not one viral moment but years of sustained visibility, is how culture actually changes. Influence works through accumulation. You do not watch any single post change your self-image, but you see someone like Mia Anderson in your feed for months and years and something shifts quietly. The definition of who gets to be visible expands in your mind without you quite noticing when it happened. The body you live in stops needing to be justified before you are allowed to show it. That is the work she has been doing, whether she describes it in those terms or not. As of 2026, Mia Anderson Coco Bunnie is 33 years old. She has spent more than a decade building a digital presence across multiple platforms with multiple revenue streams. She has 2.2 million Instagram followers, hundreds of thousands of followers on X, and a loyal direct subscriber base on OnlyFans. She is verified, she is brand affiliated. She is, by the metrics that the creator economy uses to measure success, genuinely successful, but the more honest way to measure it is simpler. She showed up as herself, without apology, in a landscape that gave her every structural reason not to. She built an audience that found her because she was genuinely worth finding. She monetized that audience thoughtfully across multiple platforms without compromising the core of what made people want to follow her in the first place. And she has sustained it, not through constant reinvention or manufactured controversy or trend chasing, but through the quiet, relentless discipline of showing up consistently and being exactly who she said she was. There is a version of this story that reads as pure inspiration. There is a version that reads as a case study in digital entrepreneurship and financial independence. There is a version that reads as a meditation on what it costs in energy, in resilience, and sustained self-belief to build something real in a space that was not designed to accommodate you. The truth is that it is all three of those things at once. And Mia Anderson, Coco Bunnie, is still writing it. The numbers will keep changing. The platforms will keep evolving. The algorithms will keep shifting. But the woman behind the handle is still there. Still from Atlanta. Still unapologetically, completely herself. And in a creator economy that has seen thousands of people rise and collapse and disappear, that groundedness, that unshakable sense of self that no platform can give you and no algorithm can take away might be the most valuable thing she has ever built. That is the story of Coco Bunnie, Mia Anderson. Girl from Atlanta who started posting on Twitter in 2015 with no guarantee that anyone would care, and built something that 2.2 million people and counting have decided is worth their time and their loyalty. If this video gave you something today, a new way of thinking about brand building, about visibility, about what it actually takes to create financial independence in the creator economy, share it. Put it in front of someone who is building something right now and needs to hear this story. And if you are not subscribed yet, do it now. We tell these stories every single week. You do not want to miss what is coming next. Until next time.